Hello, my name is Trey Stewart. I am a student with Clemson Navs, and we are doing a study in Romans, and today we'll be talking about Romans 3. I hope you guys are all doing well, especially all my friends in Clemson Navs. I miss you. I love you. I hope you all are enjoying time with your family and time with the Lord over break. So we'll be talking about Romans 3 today. As Paul and Bryce already talked, they covered Romans 1 and 2. If you haven't watched those videos, go ahead and do that. Romans is interesting out of a lot of the books and letters that are written in the later half of the New Testament because it is one long form argument from start to finish. Other books sometimes go a little bit more topically and you can kind of handle them in small sections. But this book is just one long argument that is constantly building on itself. So it's really important to have that baseline and to be considering everything that Paul has said up until the point of which you're currently reading. As he talked about in 1 and 2, Paul has kind of laid out how everyone is sort of screwed and messed up. As Paul talked about, people who are outside of God's law, who are not in the nation of Israel, also known as Gentiles, are pretty messed up, and they're filled with sin and wickedness and murder and gossip and hatefulness and envy and all of these things that it lays out. And so it's like if you're outside of the law, you're done for. There's no helping you. But then he lays out in 2, and we'll do some summing up in 3, as Bryce talked about, that if you're a Jew, you're also screwed up. And you have the law, but you don't even keep the law, which makes you almost worse because now you're a hypocrite. And he goes into this more in 3. He has this great passage from 10 through 18 where he's quoting out of Psalms. And he says, "No one is righteous, no, not one. No one understands, no one seeks God." This is really strong language. He goes again in verse 3:20 and kind of summarizes both categories, people who didn't have the law, these Gentiles, and people who did have the law, the Israelites. And he says, "For by works of the law, no human being will be justified, since through the law comes knowledge of sin." An analogy that is helpful to me is thinking like the law is a mirror, and the law shows us all the ways that we are wrong, but it can't help us get clean. It simply shows us what we are, but can't help us be what we should be. And so that is like really strong language. Like it doesn't matter whether you have a law or whether you don't have a law, you're done for. And so he says this again, and this is, those of us in Navigators will know this verse rather well. Romans 3:23, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." And so this is the state that humanity is in, where all of us, without exception, are sinful, fall short of the glory of God, and deserve judgment. And he goes on in 24 and says, "And all are justified by his grace as a gift through the redemption that is in Christ Jesus." And we are, all of us, even though all of us are sinful and deserving of punishment, all of us can be justified by God's grace, which he gives as a gift. And so this is a revolutionary statement that Paul has been building up to, and that through Jesus Christ, we are, the entire shape of humanity is changed and our position before God is altered. And he's going to go into this a whole lot more in future videos. Haley next is going to be talking through Romans 4 and talking about Abraham. So excited to hear that and excited to hear from the rest of y'all. Have a great Christmas.